Well, I'm related to some famous people, but I don't shoot my mouth off about it.
The sitcom star 227 Star brought laughter and heart to television screens from 1985 to 1990, showcasing the lives of a close-knit community in a Washington, D.C. apartment building. Starring Marla Gibbs as the witty Mary Jenkins, the show became a beloved classic, thanks to its sharp humor and unforgettable characters. But behind the scenes, many of the talented actors who made Star 227 Star so special faced struggles, tragedies, and untimely deaths that fans never saw coming. From trailblazing comedians to groundbreaking actors, the cast of Star 227 Star included stars who left an indelible mark on Hollywood, yet their real-life stories were often far more dramatic than their on-screen roles. Some battled illness in silence. Others faced financial ruin, and a few saw their careers fade too soon. Their legacies, however, live on through their performances, reminding us of the highs and lows of life in the spotlight. So what really happened to the stars of Star 227 Star after the cameras stopped rolling? Why did so many of them meet such heartbreaking fates? And how are they remembered today? This is the untold story of 227's lost cast, their triumphs, their tragedies, and the enduring impact they left behind. Stay tuned as we dive deep into the lives of these unforgettable actors, revealing the shocking truths that Hollywood never showed you. And don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from your favorite classic TV shows. 2 Helen Martin, Pearl Shea, with her razor-sharp wit and unforgettable scowl, Helen Martin stole every scene as Pearl Shea, the feisty neighbor who always had a sarcastic comment ready. But behind the laughter, Martin's real-life story was one of perseverance, unfulfilled dreams, and quiet resilience in an industry that never fully recognized her. Born in 1909 in St. Louis, Martin began her career in theater during the 1930s, a rare black woman performing with the Federal Theater Project. By the time she landed Star 227 Star at age 76, she'd already spent decades being typecast as sassy grandmothers and dads, roles that paid the bills but frustrated the classically trained actress. Colleagues recalled her privately lamenting how Hollywood reduced her to old women with attitude when she trained for Shakespeare. Off camera, Martin never married or had children, dedicating her life entirely to acting. The Star 227 Star set became her surrogate family, where she mentored younger black actors about navigating an unfair world. Though the show made her a household name, its success ironically cemented her typecasting. After its 1990 cancellation, offers dried up except for similar grumpy elder parents. Martin spent her final years in a modest Monterey home surrounded by theater mementos, her Oscars dreams unrealized, but her professionalism legendary. When she died of a heart attack in 2090, her $1 million estate went to distant relatives. Today, she's remembered as a trailblazer who brought depth to every stereotype she was handed, and made Pearl Shea one of TV's most iconic neighbors. Before she became 227's lovable busybody Rose, Elena Reed Hall was already a familiar face to children across America as Olivia on Sesame Street, a role she played for 12 years. But behind her cheerful TV persona lay a life marked by both professional triumphs and profound personal tragedy. The Ohio native's career began in theater, with her powerful voice landing Broadway roles before television came calling. Her transition to Star 227 Star in 1985 showcased her versatility, transforming from a children's show regular to the building's gossipy divorcee with effortless charm. But just as her career peaked, real-life heartbreak struck her husband. Actor Kevin Peter Hall, Predator Harry and the Hendersons, contracted HIV from a tainted blood transfusion during emergency surgery. Hall nursed her 7 feet 2 inches husband through his devastating decline, becoming a widow at just 42 when he died of AIDS complications in 1991, a loss she rarely discussed publicly. Colleagues said she threw herself into work afterward, voicing animated characters and appearing on The Drew Carey Show, but never remarried. In her final years, Reed Hall battled breast cancer while raising their 2 children alone. She passed away in 2009 at 63, her death overshadowed by Michael Jackson's on the same day. Though her $2 million estate provided for her children, her greatest legacy remains her barrier-breaking career. One of the first Black women to seamlessly transition from educational TV to primetime stardom. The moment Whitman Mayo shuffled onto the Star 227 Star set as building handyman Henry Hurley, audiences instantly recognized the beloved actor who had made television history years earlier. Yet behind his everyman charm lay a career paradox. Forever remembered as Grady Wilson from Sanford & Son, Mayo struggled for decades to escape the shadow of his most famous role. Mayo's journey to stardom began unconventionally. After serving in the Korean War, the New Yorker worked as a social worker before pursuing acting at age 35. His breakout role as Fred Sanford's loyal friend Grady should have launched him to stardom, but typecasting left him playing variations of the same character for years. By the time he joined Star 227 Star in 1986, he was still fighting for substantive roles, telling friends he longed to play something besides the folksy sidekick. Off-screen, Mayo's personal life mirrored his professional frustrations. 3 failed marriages left him emotionally adrift, though he found late-life fulfillment teaching drama at Clark Atlanta University. Students remembered him as a generous mentor who would stay for hours helping them perfect monologues. Financial troubles haunted his final years, though he owned a $1 million Atlanta home. Medical bills from his heart condition drained his savings. When he suffered a fatal heart attack in 2001 at 70, the entertainment world mourned the man who'd created 2 iconic Black TV characters. Yet few knew about his quiet dedication to nurturing new generations of actors. Standing at an astonishing 7 feet 2 inches, Kevin Peter Hall brought literal and figurative stature to his role as Warren Merriweather on Star 227 Star. But few viewers realized they were watching one of Hollywood's most tragically unfulfilled talents. The gentle giant who terrified audiences as the Predator and charmed them in Harry and the Hendersons had just begun showing his range as a romantic lead when his life was cut devastatingly short. Hall's acting career began almost by accident. His basketball scholarship at Morgan State University led to modeling gigs, which transitioned into acting when filmmakers realized his commanding presence translated perfectly to screen. His Star 227 Star role in 1989 marked a rare opportunity to play against type as Rose's love interest, proving he could handle comedy and romance beyond his usual monster roles. Behind the scenes, Hall had recently married his Star 227 Star co-star Elena Reed in a storybook romance between the towering actor and petite actress. Their happiness was shattered when Hall required emergency surgery after a 1990 car accident. A contaminated blood transfusion infected him with HIV, a death sentence in a pre-antiretroviral era. As his health rapidly declined, Hollywood's go-to giant became too weak to work. He spent his final days at home with Reed, who cared for him until his April 1991 passing at just 35. The cruelest twist? Hall died before learning his Predator 2 performance would become iconic, leaving behind a legacy of what might have been for an actor who stood head and shoulders above his peers in more ways than one. When Paul Winfield graced Star 227 Star for a 1988 guest appearance as Julian Barlow, audiences witnessed a masterclass in acting from one of Hollywood's most respected, yet perpetually underrated stars. Behind his dignified performance lay a complex life of professional triumphs, personal secrets, in an industry that never fully utilized his extraordinary talents. The Oscar-nominated actor for 1972's Sounder brought gravitas to every role, from sci-fi, *The Terminator*, to television, *Roots*. His Star 227 Star stint as a charming businessman showed his underutilized comedic chops, but Winfield privately lamented being pigeonholed as the noble black man in most projects. Colleagues recalled his frustration at losing roles to less talented actors due to Hollywood's limited vision for black performers. Off camera, Winfield lived discreetly as a gay man during an era when coming out could destroy careers. His 30-year relationship with architect Charles Gillen Jr. was an open secret in Hollywood circles, though Winfield never publicly acknowledged his sexuality. Friends described the paradox of a man who played authoritative figures on screen while hiding his true self in life. Health struggles plagued his later years. Diabetes and weight fluctuations made work sporadic. When he died of a heart attack in 2004 at 64, his $3 million estate reflected a successful career, though his final years were spent in relative obscurity. Today, Winfield is remembered as an actor's actor, a man who brought quiet power to every role while shouldering private burdens the camera never saw. When Julius Carry swaggered on his star 227 star as the flashy Dale Evans in 1986, audiences immediately recognized the actor who had created one of the 1980s most iconic villains, Shonuff, the self-proclaimed Shogun of Harlem in The Last Dragon. But behind his scene-stealing charisma lay a career of unfulfilled potential and personal demons that ultimately cut his life tragically short. Carey's breakout role as the flamboyant martial arts antagonist should have catapulted him to stardom, but Hollywood struggled to find worthy follow-ups for his unique energy. His star 227 star appearance showcased his comedic timing, yet he remained perpetually that guy from The Last Dragon, a label that both defined and limited his career. Friends recalled his frustration at being offered endless variations of streetwise tough guys when he dreamed of dramatic roles. Off-screen, Carey's personal life mirrored his professional turbulence. 2 failed marriages, first to Kathy Smith, then to Naomi Kyle, left him emotionally scarred. Though he longed for children, neither union produced offspring, a regret he reportedly carried deeply. In his later years, he turned to alcohol to cope with his career stagnation before finding sobriety through Buddhism. The final blow came in 2008 when doctors diagnosed aggressive pancreatic cancer. True to form, the man who played the ultimate showman faced his illness with dark humor, joking about going out like a warrior. He passed months later at just 56. His $2 million estate a fraction of what his talent should have commanded. Today, The Last Dragon enjoys cult status, ensuring Carey's legacy as one of cinema's most electrifying what-if stories. When comedy legend Flip Wilson made a surprise 1988 guest appearance on Star 227 star as the smooth-talking Ed Fulton, audiences witnessed a bittersweet moment in television history. The once dominant king of 1970s comedy reclaiming the spotlight after years of personal and professional struggles. Wilson's rise had been meteoric. His groundbreaking The Flip Wilson Show, 1970-74, made him the first black comedian to host a wildly successful primetime variety show, earning Emmys and record ratings with characters like the sassy Geraldine. But by the time he appeared on Star 227 star, his star had dimmed due to changing tastes, industry backlash over his unapologetic black humor, and battles with cocaine addiction. Behind the laughter, Wilson's personal life was in shambles. 2 divorces left him estranged from his 5 children, while IRS troubles and bad investments drained his $15 million peak fortune down to $5 million. His Star 227 star role, playing essentially a toned-down version of his classic persona, was both a comeback attempt and sad proof that Hollywood now saw him as nostalgia rather than a current star. In his final years, Wilson found solace in Christianity and occasional stand-up dates, but his health deteriorated from years of substance abuse. When liver cancer claimed him in 1998 at just 64, the comedy world mourned a pioneer who broke barriers only to become a cautionary tale, a genius who gave America permission to laugh at black culture, then paid the price when that culture moved on without him. When gospel and jazz legend Della Reese guest starred as the no-nonsense Grace on Star 227 star in 1987, audiences were treated to a rare collision of 2 entertainment eras, the golden age of nightclub royalty meeting 1980s sitcom charm. But behind her radiant smile and commanding presence lay a life of extraordinary highs and devastating personal losses that would have broken a lesser spirit. Reese's journey to star 227 star was already the stuff of legend. From singing with Mahalia Jackson as a teen to becoming the first black woman to host a national TV variety show in 1969. By the 1980s, her career had transitioned from music to acting, with star 227 star showcasing her impeccable comedic timing. But during filming, Reese was privately enduring what she later called the Valley of the Shadow, recovering from a near-fatal brain aneurysm in 1979 while trapped in an abusive second marriage she wouldn't publicly discuss for decades. The tragedies only deepened when her beloved daughter, Della Reese, died suddenly at 41 from complications of a blood disorder, a loss that shattered Reese and led her to fully embrace her calling as an ordained minister. Her later success on Touched by an Angel became a form of ministry, though she always credited star 227 star with helping revive her acting career during her darkest period. When diabetes complications claimed her in 2017 at 86, Reese left behind a $3 million estate and something far more valuable, a blueprint for surviving Hollywood's cruelties with faith. When music icon Luther Vandross made a cameo as himself on star 227 star in 1990, audiences had no idea they were witnessing one of the final public appearances of a man who would soon vanish from the spotlight. A soul legend quietly battling health demons that would ultimately claim him far too soon. The Velvet Voice singer's appearance was pure 1980s glamour, performing his hit Here and Now in a satin jacket while the cast swooned. But behind the scenes, Vandross was already struggling with the weight fluctuations and diabetes that would plague his later years. Crew members recalled him needing frequent breaks during filming, a far cry from the dynamic performer who once dominated arenas. Vandross' personal life remained an enigma, never married, no children, and persistent rumors about his sexuality that he steadfastly refused to address. Friends described a lonely perfectionist who lived for his music, filling his Los Angeles mansion with recording equipment rather than family. His 2003 stroke left him wheelchair-bound and unable to sing, a cruel fate for a man whose voice defined romantic R&B. When he died in 2005 at just 54, the $30 million estate he left behind included unreleased recordings and a trove of lavish stage costumes. But his true legacy remains the haunting irony of a man who sang so powerfully about love, yet according to those closest to him, never truly experienced it himself off stage. When Bea Richards appeared as the sharp-tongued Carolyn Halsey in a 1986 episode of Star 227 Star, audiences witnessed something rare, an actress who had outacted Sidney Poitier decades earlier still commanding the screen with quiet authority. But behind her dignified presence lay a life of artistic brilliance, constantly battling Hollywood's racism and sexism. Richards' career was already legendary before 227. Her 1967 Oscar nomination for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner made her only the fifth black actress ever recognized by the Academy. Yet she spent most of her career playing maids and grandmothers, turning each role into a masterclass of subtext. Her star 227 star appearance as a no-nonsense neighbor was typical, a small part elevated by her precision, with crew members recalling how she'd rewrite her dialogue to add depth between takes. Off camera, Richards lived unconventionally, never marrying, openly bisexual in an intolerant era, and writing radical poetry about black womanhood. She famously turned down roles that demeaned black characters, telling directors, "I don't do stereotypes, even well-paid ones." This principled stance left her financially struggling despite her acclaim. Her final years in Mississippi were spent teaching acting and battling emphysema in near poverty, a shocking contrast to her peers' luxury. When she died in 2000 at 80, her $1 million estate, mostly her home, seemed paltry for such talent. Today, Richards is rediscovered as a feminist icon, the woman who gave Hollywood elegance on her own uncompromising terms. As we reflect on the lives of two 27's departed cast members, their collective story reveals a poignant truth about fame, artistry, and resilience in an industry that often celebrated their talent while undervaluing their humanity. These actors, from scene stealers like Helen Martin to legends like Luther Vandross, share more than just a sitcom credit. They embodied the unspoken struggles of Black performers navigating a changing Hollywood. Some, like Flip Wilson and Della Reese, achieved stratospheric success only to face heartbreaking declines. Others, like Bea Richards and Paul Winfield, earned critical acclaim, but never the mainstream recognition their talents deserved. The tragic early deaths of Kevin Peter Hall and Julius Carey remind us how fleeting opportunity can be for performers of color, even those with undeniable star power. Yet through reruns and rediscoveries, their work lives on. Star 227 Star remains a time capsule of Black middle-class life in the 1980s, its humor undimmed by time. More importantly, these actors paved the way for today's diverse television landscape. Their battles against typecasting and industry bias made possible the opportunities later generations would enjoy. As the final curtain fell on each of their lives, they left behind more than just memorable performances. They gifted us a masterclass in perseverance, teaching us that legacy isn't measured in awards or bank accounts, but in doors kicked open for others to walk through. The next time you watch Star 227 Star, listen closely. Beneath the laughter, you can still hear the echoes of their extraordinary, complicated, and ultimately triumphant journeys.